Good morning. Welcome to Red Edge Live. This is Les Patterson with Red Edge Mentoring. 2020 has been, it's been kind of a tough year. We're coming into the holidays. We're coming into the end of the year. And how are you feeling about things? How are you feeling about life? How are you feeling about yourself, your family, your situation, your finances? How are you feeling about 2021? We're going to talk about that a little bit today. We're going to talk about how you can fuel your confidence, how you can do things to create your story of greatness, even if things might be extra tough, even if things might be the toughest they've ever felt in your life. We're going to talk about that today. And as a treat, I actually have two sisters, Charity Haderlie and Rebecca Reeves, who are here to guide us and help us and coach us and encourage us. And they might even kick our butts just a little bit and say, come on, Les, you can do it. So hello, Rebecca and Charity. How are you two today?
Wonderful. I'm so grateful to be here. Thank you so much, Les, for providing this.
Yeah, this is great. Thank you, Les. We're so happy to be here. And together, this is so fun.
Yeah.
You know, I have to, I've got to tell a little bit of a story because I think stories make life just a little bit richer. And so I have known Rebecca for, I don't know, like a gazillion years or something. And, I don't know, 2 or 3 years we've known each other. And there was this other woman that I also knew named Melinda Horton, and I knew Rebecca Reeves. And one day I get this really kind of fun video message, and I've got Rebecca and Melinda together. And they say, hey, Les, it's Rebecca and Melinda. We're sisters. And I had no idea. I had no idea that these two incredibly wonderful, beautiful women that I knew were sisters to each other. And then those two sisters introduced me to another sister, Charity, and we've had a great conversation. And isn't there like, I don't know, like 90 of you, 90 sisters and brothers? And you guys come from a big family. 8 girls,
3 boys.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a good sized family. I think that's incredible. So I'm going to make a really safe assumption here that as a family of 8 sisters and 3 boys, harmony was the rule growing up, getting along, and everybody just took care of each other just right. I mean, kind of like the Waltons, you guys aren't old enough to know the Waltons, but I am. I'm sure that's exactly how it happened. Is that true?
Wow. Just about.
Yeah. Yeah. We joke now that we wasted our childhood fighting. Like literally, we did not get along. My dad will tell you a story of, maybe I don't need to tell this story, of how Rebecca and I used to get into it all the time. And one time I got so mad at her, I chased her down and tackled her, and I was like, I would just strangle her. And I remember seeing red and just being really ticked off. And my dad tells me to say, like, you almost killed your sister, literally. Like, I saved her life. And I don't remember it all, but I do remember, I would say we very much wasted our childhood fighting. But now, as adults, we love to party. We love to get together. We love every excuse. We don't even need an excuse to get together. We have lots of fun together. And I'm just so grateful for the journey we've been on to become friends and to choose to be friends with each other.
Mm-hmm. Amen to that.
Awesome. So where do the two of you fit into this family of 11 kids?
So I'm number 5, so kind of in the middle. And
I'm the third, the first girl, so the most responsible child, I would say. Just kidding.
I agree with that.
The oldest girl.
Okay. I'd probably agree with that. I'm the oldest in my family, and then right below me is a sister, then another brother. And she by far was the most responsible one in our family growing up and stuff. And so as adults, and you both are in the world of using your voice to encourage others, to empower others, to inspire others. You use your voice, you use your stories, you use the experiences that you've had in life to help other people see that, you know what, you can make it as well. You can keep going. You can love yourself. You can see your incredible greatness, even if you've had struggles, even if you've made mistakes, even if whatever. Why is that so passionate for you? And Charity, let's start with you. Why are you so passionate about using your voice to influence and lift other people? And then Rebecca will go to you with the same question.
Well, the short version is I know what it's like not to feel like I don't have it. I know what it's like to feel like I don't have a voice or that my voice doesn't matter. And part of that was me not believing in myself either. And I feel like I've always known, even as a little girl, I had these visions of grandeur, if you will. You know, we had these dreams as little kids. I dreamed that I just knew I would use my voice for something. And I actually thought it was singing, but I had stage fright. I was so nervous and I didn't believe in myself. And then my journey of, you know, going through this personal development, there was a point where I started taking voice lessons actually, because I thought this is what I'm supposed to do. I need to build this confidence. Voice lessons led to getting back into school, led it to learning about public speaking. And then I found like that is where my calling is. You know, sometimes we have these dreams and we think it's supposed to be one way, but as we lean into it, we discover that it might be something a little bit different than you planned, and that's okay. So being open to that, being open to finding out what it isn't so that you can lean really into what it is. And I found that my story that I took for granted, when people started asking me what had changed, what's so different in you, I took it for granted. I was shyly sharing and like, okay, well, here's some tips. And the response was very powerful and receptive, like, whoa, that's exactly what I needed. Thank you so much. And so just in sharing my voice very imperfectly, I found that the impact is there, and people really don't need a polished, amazing, you know, grandiose story. They just need you. They need what you have. And so as I've leaned into that, becoming more of myself, I've found that I've been able to help others become more of themselves.
So, Rebecca, or sorry, Charity, if you would build on just one point there, they don't need the refined, polished, all put together you. They just need you. How is that really true? I mean, if I'm feeling broken, am I still of value?
Absolutely. Your value never changes. You know, too often we identify as our trauma, we identify as our depression and our struggles. But that's not who we are. That's an experience that we've had in life. You were born with value, 100% of your value, and that always stays with you. But sometimes we start to believe that we are less valuable because we feel broken. But that brokenness is really what lets the light shine into other people's lives by being vulnerable and owning it, so that you can give other people permission to own their story too. There's power in that.
Oh, I love that, Charity. I do think that is really, really powerful when we can be in our space, when we can walk through our journey, and other people see, whether it's because they actually are seeing us through that journey and they see us keep getting back up, they see us keep moving forward. That's going to inspire them. That's going to empower them to also be able to get back up and move forward in their own life and in their own story, their own journey. So, Rebecca, let's go to you with that very same question.
Mm-hmm. I love it. And I love what Charity shared too. It really is what is not, and being okay with that, because a lot of times in life you go through these experiences and they really wake you up to who you are. So for me, it was more gaining a relationship to who I am and realizing, yes, my voice matters, and it's by example that we inspire other people. So it was me getting out of my head and being okay to drop into my heart, excuse me, and to really truly love who I was. And that took a lot of effort, being able to work past anxiety and depression and shame and guilt, and learning, okay, there are tools that we can use in our life and incorporate very effortlessly, but yes, with a lot of effort, that we don't have to be perfect to incorporate these tools. We don't have to be perfect to share our voice or share our message. And that's how it was for me. It's little by little, these things started to develop, and oh my gosh, this makes more sense here, and I could share here. And so it was just little by little taking those steps and owning who I was. There was a beautiful quote that I saw years ago, that said, "Be you, because everyone else is taken." And I remember at that moment, I was, kind of broken down, emotionally shut down. And I remember seeing that quote, and I was at the Chopra Center, and we were doing this really fun dance on the grass of the golf course. And they had that quote, and I realized at that moment, I don't have to be anybody else. There's no one else like me, and there's no one else like you. Therefore, it's okay for me to stand in my power. And from there, I started to be able to gain a relationship of who I am. What do I truly want in life? And I started to ask better questions. What do I want in life? How can I serve? How can I help? What is my message? How can I serve? And so it's just shifting my questions into something better versus a victim state of what I was being at that moment.
Wow. This journey of self-discovery, this journey of loving who we are, even with our imperfections, even with our challenges, even with our whatever.
Mm-hmm.
It's a journey that doesn't just happen. Sometimes, there can be catalyst moments. Rebecca, you had this moment where you experience something and you start asking different questions. Would I assume correctly that even from that moment, there still have been times where you've wondered, oh, do I have what it takes to be the best person that I can be? That there's still been times that it's been really hard to be confident, stand in your power, see your greatness? Or have you been able to hang on to that since that moment?
I feel like there are moments where the thoughts are so defeating, but being okay. So my thing is being okay to educate, being open to educate my mind every single day. What am I paying attention to every single day? Is this something that's going to move me forward or pull me back? And then also my friends that I hang out with. So surrounding myself with people like Les, Charity, my sisters, that are really pulling me forward in life, that are doing something and moving forward. Because if I have a setback or a fallback, there was a point in my journey where I was pushing so hard, making things happen. Okay, I'm pushing, doing all these coaching things, doing all this. And I was so exhausted and I was so burned out and I was so upset. And I was talking to my friend and I asked him, I was so frustrated. He's like, "What's going on, Rebecca?" And I said, "I am so frustrated. Like nothing is working out. Like I'm working so hard to do all this." And he said, "Wait a second. I want you to step back and I want you to look at this moment. And I want you to look back at all these things that you've done to this point. And you have done so much to get to where you are, but yet I wasn't celebrating all those moments." And so it helped me step back and realize, oh my gosh, we need people in our life that are going to do that for us, to kind of wake us up and say, "Hey, come on, you're in this direction. Let's pivot just a little bit," to kind of hold you accountable. And then also, it was so important for me to look back and celebrate what I was doing, because I was making progress, but yet I wasn't focusing. I was so focused on this end goal that I didn't realize all these, the little by little, the little bit becomes a lot. I wasn't celebrating those moments. So I think that's what it is, being okay to be open, educate, and your mind and your heart, celebrate your wins, and hang out with people that are incredible, that are going to cheer for you and celebrate you when you need it, and vice versa.
I like that. Two things I'd like to build on this, and Charity, I think, if you'd add along, you'd add some things with this. You mentioned celebrate the wins along the way. This is really kind of a powerful concept of how do we celebrate the wins along the way. So let's build on that, Charity. If you build a little on that, then we're going to talk about how we surround ourselves with people to uplift us. So, Charity.
This is such a powerful question. And excuse me, I've got a cold here. So excuse me for my voice. So a client came to me. He is a CEO of multiple businesses, and he came to me just burnt out. He was overwhelmed and wanting to quit. And so as I listened to him, the first thing I told him on our first session is, I said, exactly what Rebecca said. The first thing you need to do between this week and next week is just jot down. So here's one way you can celebrate your wins. I said, write down a list of all the wins in the last 6 years of this business that you're completely frustrated in. Write down all those things. And I want you to involve your wife in this. And then next week we'll talk about it. And he looked at me very skeptically and was just like, that's what you want me to do? And I called him out on it. I said, you're looking for some tactical business advice right now, aren't you? And he's like, well, yeah, I want to fix what's going on. I said, you won't be able to move forward because you're anchored emotionally to the past pains and all the hurdles that were painful to overcome. And now you're projecting forward and all the things you still have to overcome, all those hurdles. Yes, they are coming, but you've got to fuel yourself emotionally with the success that you've already had. So just trust the process. Trust me on this, okay? And I'll talk to you next week. Well, within 3 days, he sent me a video message and said, oh my gosh, this has totally changed my life. I've been looking back at the last 6 years of all the pains and struggles, just like you said, and projecting forward. But when I talked to my wife, we realized like all these wins that we have experienced and all the hurdles that we've overcome, I knew what to do, and I've messed up on some, but now I know what to do, what I would do differently. And so I can't believe how much this has changed the way I'm looking at the future just because I wrote down all the wins of the past 6 years. And so that is like one example, and Rebecca has an example, and I have examples of that, of celebrating my own wins, where you've got to fuel yourself forward. And so often as entrepreneurs especially, and women, we have these visions of grandeur, all these hurdles, all these things, these desires that we have, but we see how hard it has been instead of celebrating all the steps we have taken. So celebrating the wins does absolutely fuel us forward with the feeling and emotion of success so that we can move forward with power. So I absolutely agree with what Rebecca has done, what she said, and she does with this too. It seems like so stupid simple, but it is powerful. There's power in doing this.
That is so incredible, Charity, when we recognize little moments. And I like to think about it like when we see a child. I've got 2 grandchildren right now, and one is a little over 3, and we get to see her quite a bit. She lives here in northern Utah, and we have another one he's about 1.5, and he lives back east. Well, as they are learning to do things, walking and talking and, those things, sometimes they fall down. Our little grandson, Corbin, he'll go run along and he'll just face plant. And what do? We cheer him on and say, okay, come on, Corbin, you get back up. And sometimes he'll cry or sometimes he'll laugh, but what does he do? He gets back up. We're celebrating his win. Well, somewhere along life, we get to the point that we start judging the fall down. We start, our peers do it as we grow up. society, life does it. Oh, look, Les, you're no good. You just fell down again. You're no good. You just fell down again and again and again. And it's rare to have people that say, hey, Les, I see you. Hey, Les, you can do it. You're getting back up. I am so proud of you. I love you. I see your greatness. Rebecca, you mentioned earlier, it's important that we surround ourselves with incredible people that encourage, people that lift us up. So would you share some thoughts on why? Why is that so important? And then together, let's talk about some ways that we can do that. So Rebecca.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So surrounding yourself with people that are going to help you move forward, that has been so important for me in my life. Just recognizing, because we all start to become who we hang out with. So whether we like it or not, if people have habits, we start to become those same habits. We start to do and emulate those same habits. So for me in my life, where I wanted to shift and I wanted to start coaching and I wanted to start speaking, I started to go to seminars, hiring coaches after coaches, seminars and trainings. And I started connecting with the most incredible people. And I, through my reading and education, I started to learn that it's so important for you to watch who you surround yourself with, because you will become them. And if you want to become something, you start to go do those things that they're doing, have the same habits. How do they act? How do they perform? How are their confidence in their life? How are they confident in their life? And I started to put myself in uncomfortable positions where I had to grow, where I started to make friends and surrounding myself with these, but also it's nurturing those relationships, being able to give back to them and asking them, hey, how's your day? Just sending a little message here and there and cheering them on also. But it's made a huge difference in my life, because I've started to see that it's important for me to create boundaries where I didn't have boundaries prior. So people that I hung out with or people that I dated, I realized, oh my gosh, my boundaries are not good, or they're not strong here. I need to step it up a little bit, because I'm not going to get to where I want to be. Only because I've seen it where these people are where I want to be, and these are their habits, these are their boundaries. And it doesn't mean that I'm taking everything of theirs. It just means, what resonates with me, what boundaries feel good, what habits feel good in my life that are going to pull me to that moment, or where I want to be. And so that has been so huge for me in life, to be okay to cut off relationships, or to kind of distance myself from where I know I don't need to be, or who to hang out with. And I have great friends in my life, and it doesn't mean I have a gazillion friends, but the friends that I have are very quality. And that's who I decide to hang out with, because my life is so much better and happier because they're there anytime I need it, and vice versa. So it's huge when you start to hang out with people that where you want to be.
Wow. Hang out with people who are where you want to be. Mm-hmm. Wow. In life, growing up, I know I had some heroes in my life. There's at the Christmas time, there's an initiative called Light the World, that is one that kind of recognizes the days leading up to Christmas, and how to kind of give us little prompts to do things to light the world around us. And one of those, I can't remember if it was yesterday or the day before, was to recognize the heroes in our life. And I've had some thoughts about the heroes that are in my life. But I also, it caused me to think about the regular, everyday, normal people who at different times have been heroic for me, who have done things that may not be hero status, at any level, but for me, they've been heroic. And sometimes they are just small, simple, little things, because they were there for me at a time that I needed someone to be there. I remember a moment. I was down in Salt Lake City. I had some appointments down there, and this was a particularly really tough day. It was a tough time period. And I remember I was sitting waiting to cross the street, and I kind of got in a little bit of a lost zone, and the light had turned green. I was walking, and I didn't cross the street. I just stayed there, and then it turned red again, and somebody just approached me and said, "Hey, you doing all right today?" And they looked at me with this gift of compassion, this gift of love, even. And I don't remember how I answered that question, but I remember what I felt. I felt this gift of something that I needed at the moment. And I probably said, "Oh yeah, I'm doing all right," But they gave me something, and that was a heroic moment for me. I didn't recognize it at that time, but it was a heroic moment. We just talked about celebrating wins. We've talked about surrounding ourselves with people that lift us up and encourage us. Have there been people in your life that have been kind of those heroes that you would say, "Wow, this person has always been here for me"? Or has there been one of those little heroic type moments where somebody saw you in such a way that gave you that gift, maybe kind of like what I experienced that day down in Salt Lake City? Charity, let's go to you first.
I can think of a few examples. One of them was my baby brother, who we lost to suicide in 2010. But when he was probably 3 or 4, and I still lived at home. I was probably, how old was I? 18, getting ready to move out of the house. But I was just having so I think he was about 2. I was still living at home. There's quite a gap between us. So I was having a particularly rough day, just feeling invisible in this house full of people with all our siblings. And my parents absolutely did the best they knew how. But we have our bad day. I was having a bad day, and I went down in the basement. Our basement was unfinished. It had lots of random things and storage down there. So I remember hiding underneath an old sleeping bag or something, because I just was like, I don't want to talk to anybody. I don't want to deal with anyone. I just hid, just blend in with the surrounding. And I heard people upstairs after a while saying, "Hey, where's Charity? Where's Charity?" Looking around for me. And I thought, good, you're going to miss me. I'm not even going to tell you where I am. I wanted them to want me, because I was just feeling very lonely. And somehow, and I was downstairs, I didn't turn on any lights because I didn't want to cue anyone in that I was down there. And my little brother, this little toddler, I swear, angels told him where I was, because there's no way you could find me. And he came and he just walked down the stairs. I heard him. He came right to where I was. He lifted up the sleeping bag and he said, "Charity." And then I think it was Christmas time, and he said, "Happy birthday, Charity." And it wasn't my birthday, but it was Christmas time. And I just gave him the biggest hug. And I said, "Thank you." It meant so much that this little toddler went out of his way to find me and wish me a happy birthday. And he meant Merry Christmas, but it was the sweetest thing. It really touched my heart that someone saw me. And, Les, to add on to what you said, the reason why these are such heroic moments for us, I believe, is because connection, without connection, connection is as vital to life as food and water. So without having that connection, which is the gift of being heard and seen and understood, we wither away. There's such a huge rise in mental illnesses right now, and depression and suicide and that type of thing. And we are lacking that fundamental need, which is connection. And so when someone gives you that gift of saying, "Hey, I see you where you are, and I hear you, it fuels our soul at a deep level. So that's one. I can think of many other examples, but that would be the one that I want to share right now, because he was my little angel then, and now, as he has passed on, I do feel him close. He is my angel. He's our angel, isn't he, Rebecca? In our family, we have many experiences, and I'm just so grateful for those angels in our life, whether they are in this earth life or have passed on, who give us the gift of being seen and heard.
Wow, what a beautiful story to have this little boy, come and find you. And this has taken me back to a little brother that I had who was a little toddler. And I don't remember how old he was at this time period, but he asked me if I would help him pray, if I would help him say a prayer. And I would have been in my young teens at the time. He was probably I don't know, he was 9 years younger than me. And so if he was 3 or 4 or 5, I don't know. So, and he's my baby brother that was killed by suicide just a few years ago. And those little moments are the joys of remembering him. I focus and remember those beautiful moments, and not so much the hard moments. And I have not thought about that moment in a long time. And so thank you for bringing me that beautiful memory. So, Rebecca, heroic moments, heroes in your life.
I love that. Thank you. And thanks for sharing that with us, Les. That was beautiful. I feel like when I was just in a very unhealthy relationship, it was 14-year relationship with my kid's father. I one time went to my sister's house, and at this point I was 100% emotionally shut down, just drained and pretty much lifeless. And if you know who I am today, that's not who I am at all. And so being overcome with so much shame and guilt and in such a victim state, I had disconnected from a lot of my family at that point, just feeling like I'm not good enough, what I'm doing, and I can't change anything. I had no hope for change, but I did my best to do what I could in the moment, thinking that, well, that's all I could do, and not realizing I had a choice to do something different. But at this particular time, I was at my sister's house, Charity's house, and we stayed over for the weekend. She lived in Idaho. And my kids, we were going down the stairs, and my kids went down to go play, and Charity had stopped me on the stairs. And she looked at me and she said, I just want to ask you a question. Do you? And so I'm like, oh my gosh, am I in trouble? What's going on? And at this point, I didn't really share anything in my life that was going on too much. I kept everything kind of hush hush. What was going on at home, I just was dealing with myself. And so bottling up every emotion, everything inside of me, she asked me, do you feel safe? And in that moment, I couldn't even answer her. I couldn't answer her question. And, being safe in the home where I was living. And I just started to break down in tears. And she said, it's okay. Like, I want you to know that I love you and you are always welcome here. And in that moment, I realized she saw me and she heard me, even though I couldn't say anything. She said, sometimes saying nothing is saying everything. And I realized that my sister, my family is always there no matter what crazy thing I'm going through in my life, but that we need to see people. We need to hear them. We need to recognize, just like someone stopped you on the street and asked you, hey, are you okay? What's going on? It's so important that we recognize people, and that means gaining a relationship with ourselves. When we are gaining that relationship with ourselves, we can truly serve other people. We can help them. We can notice these little tiny things, because in that moment was a huge moment of my realization of, wow, I need to do something different because right now I'm feeling dead. I feel numb. I don't feel alive. What am I going to start to do differently? And so it started to build momentum and, I need to do something different. So it's important that we recognize that in other people. So thank you, Charity. And I don't know if I've even shared that with Charity ever, but that was a pivotal point in my life. So thank you for seeing me and hearing me and recognizing that within me.
Wow, you're bringing up a lot here to lots of tender moments along the way where Rebecca and I have just been on these parallel paths, and a lot of our, in our family, one of our superpowers was plastering on a smile, even though inside we're shoving down emotion and pretending that everything's okay. Like, it was a superpower. But it's sad when you fake everyone else out, when you're faking it out for everyone else, but you've actually tricked yourself and believe that, like, this is just how it is. And so by shoving and shoving and shoving that emotion, like she said, we do become numb to what's going on in life. And I think it's very dangerous when we do that, because when there's a situation, where people may take advantage, if you're used to ignoring how you're feeling, and that fight or flight response mode that says, hey, you need to get out of here. Hey, this is not a healthy relationship. Hey, you need to preserve your life and get out of here. You have conditioned yourself to not respond to that. And so therefore you're stuck in these situations where, like, Rebecca was in this relationship that would cause red flags to go off to most people. But because she had conditioned herself not to listen to herself, she was there for 14 years. And I've been in situations like that where, because I had conditioned myself not to speak up, not to share, use my voice, not to say, hey, no, this is wrong, I need to get out of here. Things happen that you regret and you feel shameful towards, and then you feel like, I can't talk about this now, and it just weighs you down. Eventually you feel like you're a stranger in your own life, as I had felt, and Rebecca had felt that. So in our journeys, I recognize that in Rebecca. I recognize that I've been there, not in the same situation as her, but I recognize how she was just numb. She was like, this is what you see, but I knew there was stuff inside she was ignoring. And so just to break through that and say, hey, I know you're struggling, and I need to know what you're saying. Or that person on the street corner said, hey, are you okay? You're not really here. You're not in the present moment. You are off somewhere else in your thoughts, and you're not feeling emotions. And we're human beings who have a full spectrum of emotion that is meant to be felt. And I feel like growing up, the whole spectrum of, the good, bad, and the ugly, we would just pretend to be happy all the time and feel it's only okay to feel this much of the human emotion. And by doing that, we are missing out on being humans, on feeling that whole range of emotions. It's okay to feel, but you don't have to get stuck. Emotions are temporary, but sometimes we believe that emotions and feelings, like, if I feel that way, that's how it always is and how it's always going to be. Like, don't be afraid to feel it so that you can feel it.
Wow. First of all, I am honored that there was a space that was created here in this little moment for Rebecca, for you to be able to share something with your sister, and for this incredible love that I feel, right now, because I feel seen. I feel lifted. I feel loved just by being with you, just by having a conversation with you, by having a little more understanding of the life that and of your lives. And I know I'm only getting this little teeny sliver, and a little teeny sliver can't come close to summing up everything that we've experienced, that you've experienced. But a little teeny sliver does create a little teeny shaft of light in a room that is dark. A pinhole will literally allow enough light to come in that it can illuminate. And at this moment, I feel I've been granted a little pinhole. And the love that I feel for the two of you has been magnified greatly because of the love that I see between the two of you. And I would just have to feel that when other people have an opportunity to be able to listen to you, and hear a little sliver of a thought, that you will be a light in their life as well. And coming up, the two of you have created an opportunity for that to happen with the Fueling Confident Women Summit. Am I using the right word for that?
Summit.
Would you tell us a little bit about this and what it's designed to do and how people could become involved with it?
Yeah, Rebecca, you want to take it? I feel like I've just got one second, so go for it, Rebecca.
We are so excited about this. So this is the first time we've ever partnered up together, and we have interviewed incredible people around the globe to be on this summit. And so with this, you're getting so many tools that you are going to learn to be able to incorporate into your life. It's things that they use on a daily basis to help and serve them. To fuel who they are. So it's not just women that we have interviewed, it's also men. And so I am so excited about this and so thrilled to be able to work with Charity, but yet share this with so many people. And I have been learning so much as we interviewed. I have been learning so much, and it's just so fun and so exciting. So I'll let Charity tell the details.
Yes, like she said, like we partnered on this, and it's been such a joy to work with my sister, and we've divided and conquered. We both interviewed different people, and we brought it together in such the most simple format. All you have to do is register your name and email, and then starting on December 11th, you'll receive emails each day with just one interview, one of our interviews each day. So you can listen to it on your own time. You can soak it up and enjoy the content of each interview. And we kept them all 30 minutes a month. So 30 minutes a day for over probably 13 days. I think we have 13 interviews. You will be able to hear these conversations, these interviews that we've had with various experts from around the world, and learning hurdles that they've overcome, how they've overcome, and how you can fuel your confidence. So we are so excited. The content is just, it fuels my soul. I'm going to be listening along as we, as the summit goes, because every time I listen to the interviews, I'm like, oh my gosh, Rebecca asked that. That's, and she got, and then listen to my own interviews, I'm like, wow, this is just, we feel very inspired. And it's our gift to women worldwide, especially at this time where we are feeling like, kind of depleted and deflated at the end of this year. It hasn't been an easy year for any of us, but I think of it a lot like when we run a marathon, in order to finish strong, you have got to fuel yourself. So here we are, we've got a month left of this year of 2020. It's time to fuel yourself, ladies. It's time to fuel up, and then we'll finish strong, and then we'll start 2020 with a clean palate and with open hearts as we move forward, fuel ourselves forward, and just really pour our love to each other. So that's what it's all about. And fuelingconfidentwomen.com is where you can go to register. We'll be adding all the speaker pictures and their titles so you can see who's in it. But you'll get more of that. It's super simple, and it is free. This is our gift to you. So please come to be part of this.
Yeah, I am excited for it. I've signed up.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Because I want some of that nurturing. I want some of that fueling. And so I hope it's all right if a guy kind of jump into that?
It's
And
interesting, Les, because I have done events for just women and for men and women, and women are soaking it up and wanting it. So that's where marketing right now works best for me, is marketing to women. But you're not the only man who's signed up. There are many men, and I also work with men and women. And I feel like for men, sometimes it's kind of like this personal development world and connection and talking and like really getting deep. It's very stigmatized in a lot of ways, especially for men. So my hats off to you, Les, for being open to that and recognizing that this is a topic not just for women, but it's marketed for women. And you gain a ton of value by being part of this, Les. So thank you for registering. Thank you for putting your trust in us. We are so excited to bring this to the world. We're excited for it.
Well, I am, I recognize the source. I recognize who it is bringing in, and I've already found great value in Charity and you, and Rebecca and you. I found incredible value and love and strength and confidence just by being a little part of your lives, just by seeing a little bit of your influence in my life. And that's part of why I'm excited to be able to have you guys be part of Red Edge Live and to be able to share a little bit of your story. But ladies, this is also for me. I mean, because I'm feeling lifted just by having this conversation today. As we go forward now, and we're wrapping up 2020, this year of great vision amidst incredible challenges. There's probably not one person on this beautiful planet Earth that has not been impacted some way by the challenges that we are seeing as a global family, as a global economy, as a world of fellow human beings walking our path. I know that I don't get to be a person that gets to influence every person in the world. But I do know that I get to be a person that one way or another, I'm going to influence those around me. If I show up in anger, if I show up in bitterness, if I show up in discouragement, if I show up defeated, that's going to influence others. And on the converse of that, just like each of you are doing, Rebecca and Charity, when we show up with hope and with love and with greatness and with confidence and with resilience, with determination to get back up when it hurts, to get back up and keep going, to keep running this race of life, keep journeying this path with all of its obstacles and all of the pebbles that get lodged into our shoes and that hurt when we walk. When we keep getting back up, we will influence for the better those that are around us. And today, Rebecca and Charity, you have each lifted me. And even if I am the only one that was lifted by our conversation today, I promise you, my friends, it's worth it if I was the only one. Because I think God sees the one, and I'm grateful that He sees the one in me. And today, you've given me that gift of seeing me and loving me and fueling me. And my friends who are listening, even if you happen to be the only one that hears this message, Go sign up for Fueling Confident Women. Whether you're a woman or a man, doesn't matter. Go get those messages and let what they'll be sharing touch your heart and your soul in a way that you can feel a little bit of what I'm feeling right now. Charity and Rebecca, what's a final thought that you could leave with us today? Charity, you first.
The thought that comes to mind is, our greatest goal is neither comfort nor ease. Our greatest goal is to just love. And sometimes that means during difficult times, ask yourself, how can I love myself through this? And if you can show up in love, people will feel that love more loudly than they'll hear your words or see your example. So just show up in love, especially for yourself, and share that love with others, because that's what we need. And to me, connection is a gift of love as well. So just love, unconditional love. We're all different, and that's okay. And that's beautiful.
Thank you. That is beautiful. Rebecca.
Beautiful. Thank you. I feel like I kind of want to touch on what you said, Les, that those obstacles in our life, looking at them as an opportunity to see what's coming up within us, because that's something we need to heal. And being okay to look at that and be kind to ourselves and come from a place of love, like Charity said, is so important. Being able to love where we're at the moment, be able to enjoy the journey. And I feel like that took me a long time to understand it's okay where I'm at and I need to enjoy this. So be okay where you're at. No matter where you're at in life, step back and find those victories and celebrate those, but come from a place of love and be kind to yourself.
Awesome. Those are both absolutely beautiful. And I would echo that by sharing what it is that I share at the end of every Red Edge Live broadcast. And that is my personal promise proclamation, my own journey of creating my story of greatness has had many obstacles. It's had many failures. It's had many successes. It's had many mistakes. But the thing that has worked is by being intentional and being consistent, and having love for myself, having grace, for myself. And my journey is wrapped up in this that I call my personal promise proclamation. The story that you most consistently create for yourself will be the story to most consistently come true in your life. Be very intentional, my friends, and create a beautiful, a powerful, and a wonderful story of love and greatness. And at this time of year, when love is at the root of what the Christmas season is truly all about, may you truly feel that love and that light and that hope in your life. Thank you for joining us on Red Edge Live today. Rebecca and Charity, thank you for being here. I love you, my friends. I'm grateful so much for your influence.
Thanks
for having us.
Thank
you. My friends, join us next Thursday. We have the opportunity to visit with Richard Paul Evans, the author, New York Times bestselling author, #1 bestselling author of incredible books, and an incredible leader and an incredible teacher. We get to have a wonderful conversation with him. So join us next week. And until then, have a beautiful day. Love you, my friends.